We are live.
Woo! Welcome back to Pull the Pink Cup podcast. Tommy, Matt, we've got Sawyer in the background. We got Dan in the shop doing some work. Let's go. All right, so Sony Open, last Hawaiian swing, Hawaiian tournament. What a last 9 holes. The tournament fucking sucked until the last 9 holes on Sunday.
I don't know if I'd say it sucked, but yeah, it definitely got a lot more exciting the last 9 holes. There's for sure.
It was not. I'll say, okay, here's why I thought it sucked. It had nothing to do with the scores or the play. You went from maybe one of the most visually pleasing tournaments to watch at Kapalua to a course that literally looks like a muni track, even though it's in the same state. I just watching it. It just doesn't look nice.
Until you get to like 17, and then there's just the ocean in the background.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, like at Kapalua, you've got like these beautiful landscape views where there's people out in the ocean kayaking and whales and all this, and then you watch Wailai and you're like, they've got palm trees shaped like a W. Cool, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Shots at the Hawaiian Islands there. Uncle Ty's going to hear about this.
No shots at the Hawaiian Islands. I will go to Hawaii anytime, and I'll play Wailai anytime. I'm just talking about how it looks on TV.
Sure.
But the last 9 on Sunday was pretty spectacular, specifically Hideki Matsuyama.
I think that have we all not given Hideki enough credit in the last
He's
18
won
months?
2 out of his last 3 tournaments.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the last calendar year, even.
Masters.
I mean, he's won 3 tournaments now. He's got a couple second place finishes. And I mean, do you think that's because he's like, like for Asian background, like we don't get to hear him talk as much, that we don't talk about him as much? Or is it just be like he just kind of flew under the radar? Like obviously the Zozo, we didn't get to see any of it really, other than that ridiculous 3-wood where he almost makes Albatross to win the tournament, which he did again, almost did again in the playoff. But like, you think it's like a cultural thing or what? Like,
No, I think it's that he is a player that has one significant flaw in his game, which is the putting, which it wasn't this week. He led the field in strokes game putting. But when he's not good, he's not good.
Yeah.
Right? So his ball striking is always amazing. He's usually really consistent off the tee. But when he shows up one week and doesn't putt it, he's not in the top 10. He's not in the top 15, not in the top 20. When he shows up, though, and is putting it, he is as good as anybody out there. So maybe a little bit of it is the cultural thing. Like, he's not doing interviews. He's not as out there. But, I mean, in Japan, he's a...
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about from an American standpoint.
So, I got it, yeah. Mm-hmm. And, but if he keeps doing this, there's no ignoring it, right?
He's the front runner for Player of the Year, right? I mean, 2 wins.
First 3 tournaments, or 2 out of his last 3. And what did he was T13 at the Hero.
Yeah.
Tied for 6 at the Fortinet. So, like,
I think I saw going back to last year, he had 3 tied for seconds.
it's possible.
So I haven't.
That sounds like Louis.
What's that?
That sounds like Louis. I'll check his last few starts here, but that sounds
Well, no, I
like...
have his last few starts. I mean, he
Well,
went
you have his last few starts, but I'm saying... You want me to verify what Tommy's saying here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you could just go to the notes from the Google.
I don't have that up right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I mean, what about that shot on 18 in a playoff? Hardest fairway to hit in golf in the PGA Tour. Hits it twice, except he was much more conservative the second time, and then looks up in the sun, and no one knows where it is, and wow.
When he hit that shot, I don't know if they had a boom mic somewhere closer to the club than they had for anybody else. It just sounded different on TV. I mean, it was. I remember sitting there. He hits the shot, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" And then my wife looks at me like, "Why are we still watching this?" And I'm like, "That's gonna go in." And she was like, "Whatever." And then it almost did. She was like, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, "It just everything about it looked perfect."
It's that sound where that was flush out of the center of the face, and very few times when you hit it, especially for the guys that good, they hit it flush out of the center of the face, that it doesn't bode well for them.
Right. I mean, it was amazing.
2020, 2021 season, Hideki had 1 win, which was the Masters. 2 seconds. I don't know if those were T2s or solo 2s, but and 2 wins.
Yep.
And 6 events played in the 2021-22 season. So
yeah, he is certainly the front runner for Player of the Year, and a really early, obviously, take. But that's a heck of a start.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about Russell Henley, right? So he played pretty well on the front 9 yesterday, and then on the back 9 shoots a 1 over.
Shot 29 on the front.
Trying to downplay it a little bit because I'm trying to figure out if I believe he caved or Matsuyama won it. I can't figure out. My brain still hasn't comprehended which one it is yet. Because Matsuyama played so well down the stretch, so well. And Henley just didn't, but he played so well on the front 9. So, all right, let's just put it out there. Did Henley choke, or did Matsuyama win it?
it's both. I feel like it's a mix of both. I think he definitely felt the pressure of Hideki, breathing down his neck. But also Hideki had to play out of his mind. 5 shots down at the turn. Yep. Hideki has to do something special too.
I have a hard time saying a guy who makes 8 pars and a bogey gave it away. It wasn't like he put up a 10. He didn't. I mean, Hideki went out and shot 31 on the back to force a playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And a day that wasn't necessarily the lowest scoring day out there. I mean, you saw some 63s from I think Kisner had a 64, and he missed a couple of really makeable putts. Could have easily been 62. Saw a couple other 63s, but it wasn't like the first day where everyone went out and just lit up the golf course. I think you could definitely see that Russell was – the thing that stood out to me is every miss was left. And generally when you're talking about that, you're talking about someone who's getting nervy, quick on the transition. And, I mean, that's something I struggle with personally where when I get nervous, I start to miss left because I don't finish my backswing. And I think you start to see that from him talking about, the little wedge shot on 10 missed badly left to the left side of the green. 11 misses on the green side bunker. Then he misses that fairway where he has to lay up and makes it ridiculous up and down. So, just for people out there, if you're ever feeling the nerves, just think about getting the top of your backswing because that's going to be the biggest way to fight that quick nervy left. But you definitely saw out of him, but I'm not ready to go as far as saying he showed, especially with how well Hideki played on the back 9.
No, I agree with that. I think that he played just good enough not to win it in this situation, right? And Hideki played just good enough to win it, and not just good enough, but I don't think Henley lost it. I think that he just got outplayed. He looked a little tentative on the greens to me, almost the entire back 9. The front 9 wasn't terrible that way, but he just looked different putting the ball on the back 9.
For me, where he gave it away the most was way he played 18 both times. He played less than driver and still ends up in almost the same exact spot both times. Didn't make an adjustment whatsoever in the playoff. Hit the same club, ended up in the same spot. And then I don't know what that wedge shot was.
Putty had to win it on 18. I mean, he went back and looked at that. They even talked about it on the broadcast. They were like, okay, he's going to hit it. Oh, no. Okay, no, he backed up. Okay, I thought he wasn't going to take his time, and I thought he was just going to get in there and hit it. And I think he talked himself out of whatever line he had. He just kept looking at the same thing over and over and over again. I think he talked himself out of it, or we might be talking about a guy who hit a big putt on 18 to win the Sony. Let's talk about a couple other guys on the Sony real quick. One guy that we all like here is Kiz. I thought Kiz lost it this week. I thought that he absolutely positively could have won this tournament. And he did not hit a couple of putts that he notoriously does. And this is an opportunity for him to get himself in the winner's circle, and he missed it this week. Any thoughts on that?
He missed 3 putts in a 4-hole stretch
Sunday,
that were under 10 feet for birdie, not a whole lot of break to him, and he ripped all 3 of them, and he ripped them through the break. I don't know if his aim was off or what, because he hit them with authority, but they were not on the correct line whatsoever.
No, I remember the putt you're talking about, and throughout the week, he rolls the rock so well, and he has to because he's not as long as some guys. But there were just some putts that he left out there. I think he very easily could have won this tournament this week if he knocks a couple of putts down. Matt, any thoughts on Kiz this week?
I agree. It's where he makes up his strokes because, again, what did he say? He's like 30 yards behind DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ's not even the longest guy out there anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
by a lot, by a big stretch. So, he's got to make it up on the greens. And if he's going to be missing putts, that's a big opportunity. Pretty much his only opportunity to win.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another guy. You brought this up in a text to me yesterday. I believe this guy's primed for a really big year. I also dig the hell out of his name. Seamus Power is a guy that I think you're going to hear a lot about this year. He didn't really fade. He just didn't score on Sunday to put himself in position, but I thought he played really well this week. I look for him to play well at the Amex again coming up. Seamus Power, what do you think, Tommy?
I mean, the dude just straight rolls the rock. I mean, he's not – I don't think he's a short – I mean, this is probably my third time watching the guy play golf, but, man, comes out apparently on 1, makes a 20-footer. Comes out on 2 or 3, makes a 20-footer. Hits a terrible bunker shot on 4, makes a 20-footer to save par. And then goes on 5, has like 35 feet for birdie, birds the edge, and he's pissed off. Goodness, I'm like, come on now. And then throughout, I mean, he kind of cooled down from there, but I know it's like on 16 or something, makes one from the fringe. So, I mean, anybody who can putt like that has a chance to win almost anywhere.
Yep, I agree. I think he's a guy that you're going to get pretty good odds on all year long in each tournament because he's not a commodity in the PGA Tour at this point. He's a young guy that hasn't won a ton of events, and you're going to be able to bet him and make good money on him. The day he does win, you're going to make a good purse.
It's hard to believe we haven't heard about him more because they said January of 2021. He was the 460 some ranked player in the world.
Yep.
Now he's better than 70th, which is a remarkable rise to without winning. He just must be consistent. I haven't looked that much into it, but that is a huge jump for no one to be talking about him. And so I think he can be our Will Zalatoris this year, where we can hammer home some top 5s, some wins, and make a little bit of money off him until people finally recognize, this guy's actually pretty good, and then the odds go to shit. And then,
Speaking of Will Zalatoris, we'll get to him in a little bit for the Amex. He's a guy that I took some notes on, but keep that name in mind. I want to talk about Kevin Na a little bit here.
Before we move on from the Sony real quick.
We're not yet. I was going to talk about Na at the Sony.
Yeah. Okay.
Na comes out and fires a first round 62?
61.
And the big talk is obviously about the slow play. We'll talk more about that later when we get into the Grayson Murray, Kevin Na Twitter fight. But I want to talk about Taylor Gooch and Cam Smith playing in the group with him, and how there were multiple times where Taylor Gooch just was ready to wring Na's neck for how slow he was playing. I like Na. Like, I don't have a problem with him, but like if he's playing that slow, something's got to be done. And it can affect the other guys in the group.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know how the PGA fixes that. They talked about it a lot on the No Laying Up podcast today. I just don't know how you fix it. I don't know. Do you put each player on their individual clock instead of a group? I mean, that's probably how you have to do it. But then who are you going to hold them to it? So it's an issue that's going to keep coming up with guys like Bryson and Na.
Well, you
JB
said
Holmes, who Christ, they had to cancel the Oscars one year because they couldn't get the damn tournament over with fast enough.
Well, you were the one that said, right, there's like a clock for each group, right?
Yeah.
And he was taking out like 3/4 of it.
That's right.
So, I think you have to put them on their individual clock. It's not right that, he's also a shorter player, so he's often going to be hitting first.
Yeah.
So he has to take all the time in the world. And, I think it's less of an issue with a guy like Grayson because he's going to be last to hit.
Right.
He has X amount left, but if
he still takes forever.
If they have that time left on the clock, that's fine, I guess. But if he gets to go first, that means he has no worries about causing the issue. Then he takes up 3/4 of it. Now these other two guys are like, oh well, shit, I have to hit now because like I didn't get like I've talked about it with my caddy. I gotta go because I'm gonna be the reason we get a penalty now. And in reality, it's not your fault. So if you got 3-person groups and you have a set amount of time, it should be divided into 3. That's, I mean, like if they can have pitch clocks in baseball, they can have shot clocks in golf. I don't see a problem with that.
I mean, and I didn't feel for Cam Smith as much because Cam Smith was kind of like, I made $2 million last week, but here we go. Like I don't need to do much today, right? Like,
and then he goes out and misses the cut, and I don't know how much is that.
I don't think he cared.
Yeah, I'm just saying how much is that.
They showed him.
Probably still hung over from last week.
Yeah,
they showed him a couple of times on Friday.
He was at a few luau's.
Yeah, that's right.
On Friday, they showed him in that group a couple of times, and it was almost like I'm just hanging out, guys. Like I was in Hawaii, I figured I'd play. Like
Right. So one thing I did want to say is. I think it was more of a joke than anything else, but it was just funny to see. It was somebody responded. There was a picture of Taylor Gooch, and he's just sitting there like,
he was sitting on a box.
He's sitting on a box, and you can tell he's pissed. But somebody said, "Do what?" I forget. I think they did it to Bryson. Somebody went to the bathroom and just stayed in there.
Mm-hmm.
Until they got put on the clock.
Yeah. Yep.
Until they got put on. So that I think is a little extreme. That's why I agree should be individual clocks, but. You got to do what you got to do.
I think at that point, I'd be that guy. This happened. I forget who it happened to, but it did happen at PGA Tour event. Is I just play. I would hit my own shot and say, "Sorry, man, you took too long. I don't care if it's your honor. I wouldn't hit anyway." Like
I think you get penalized for that, though.
No, you don't.
Really?
No, it happened. It happened in a
on the
PGA
tee
Tour
box. You will.
Yeah, but no. Like if I'm in the middle of the fairway and I'm like, "You're taking forever," I'm like, I'm going. F you. Like I got I know I'm professional. I'm playing for a lot of money, but shit, I got shit to do later too. I
gotta go smack
some cheeks.
Exactly. I gotta go smack some cheeks.
No, but seriously, just and I would be like, hey, look, I don't want to be last quarter of the shot clock here, so I'm gonna go. If you're gonna take me, you should hit last because you're gonna take this long. You hit last then.
You had you wanted to touch on something before we left.
Well, I was just gonna say, can we just. As we talked about Russell Henley's back nine, but can we talk about his front nine for a little bit?
Yeah.
He had the closest shot of the entire field on Sunday on 6, 8, and 9. A combined 7.5 feet.
Yeah, it was silly.
Gross. And the one on 9 is just unbelievable. A high cutting forehand that just lands and just almost goes in. And you immediately saw on 10, which was crazy. I think that was almost his downfall. He was super conservative on 10, and then 11, he was like, "I don't want to be conservative." And I've been shooting flag sticks all day, so he tries to go out for another flag stick on 11, and then puts himself in the worst possible spot in that hole. But I mean, that had to be the most routine 29 I've ever seen in my life. And I'm sure there's someone in a comment like, "Oh, well, Tiger at blah 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 shot 28, and it was a lot easier." It's like, okay, well, F you then. But Russell Henley 29 was just effortless.
There's no questioning the ball striker that Russell Henley is. That is 100% why he's been a comfortable PGA Tour player, right? So they were talking about it on it's either on the broadcast or on a podcast I was listening to, how he's never been a guy that's been in any type of danger of losing his card because he registers top 10s and top 15s and stays inside the top 25 because he's such a good ball striker. It's the putting, maybe sometimes he doesn't get off the tee, but that's where he gets himself in trouble.
I mean, to see the guy gain anywhere from 3 to 6 shots in a strokes gained approach. Now, I don't really remember how that works. I'm assuming if you hole out, you're gaining more than a whole shot. So, you figure he's gaining anywhere from 3 to 6 shots in a 4-hole span is outrageous.
Yeah,
that was next level. And I think it's just be unfair to talk about how he might have gave away on the back 9, but not talk about how tremendous his front 9 was. That's all.
No, that's fair. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Amex this week. The American Express Championship. It's a weird tournament. So they didn't have the Pro-Am part of it last year because of COVID, but it is a Pro-Am tournament the first 3 days, and then they do the cut on Saturday, and Sunday is the shorter field. This is not an easy tournament to bet. Okay. So basically, for 3 days, you play with an amateur, and it's a foursome, and it's on 3 different courses. So you might get a guy who, say, the stadium course is playing easier than Nicholas's course. Like, it's not an easy tournament to bet. So we're going to throw some info at you, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to touch a ton in this tournament. Like, this is not going to be a tournament I throw a lot of money on. I'll probably bet more on the Abu Dhabi HSBC Classic or Championship. That's probably the bigger bet this week, and I'm actually going to bet a little bit on the LPGA this week as well.
Yeah.
But we'll run down some names. We'll give you guys some information.
And it's even hard with trend because, like, Hawaii is its own animal. So coming back to the mainland, like, just because a guy played well in Hawaii doesn't mean he's going to come out and play well here in California. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree completely. So all 3 courses are par 72s, and they're all 7,200 yards. So that's hilarious that they've somehow figured that out.
Well, I'm sure they just rearranged cheese as need be, but yeah.
Past winners last year was Woo Kim, Andrew Landry in 20, Adam Long in 19, and John Rahm in 2018. Cantley was the runner-up last year. Bigger top 50 list than I was expecting for this tournament. What do we got here? I think 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 from the top 50. And really top 50 with John Rahm, the number 1 player in the world, and Patrick Cantley, the number 4. World number 1 comes into the Amex after a runner-up finish at Kapalua. He hasn't played in the Amex since 2019 when he placed 6th. And he won it in 2018. He's the world number 1. You bet him, period. That's all there is to it. If you're not betting John Rahm right now, you're not paying attention to golf. Mm-hmm. The next guy on my list would be Patrick Cantley, runner-up last year. Looked strong at the TOC when everybody was worried about all the rust that he was going to have because he hadn't played in 4 months. I didn't notice that. He still looked like top 5 player in the world. He's primed for another good year. Next one is my guy, Scotty Scheffler. I think Scheffler has a breakout year. This would be the perfect place for him to start his season off with a win. Course fits him well. All 3 courses fit him well. He's, hasn't played. He tied 2 at the Houston Open and 4th at the Mayakoba. He did miss the cut here last year, but I really don't think that plays into it. So I look for him to come out and play really well. The guy that I will bet. Tony Finau's next on the list. 4th year last year, which, what a surprise. Tony Finau was in the top 5 but didn't win.
Shocking.
Big tone.
Big tone.
Any thoughts on Tony Finau?
Nothing that hasn't already been said. Is he primed to have a breakout year? Yeah.
He's primed to have a breakout year.
Primed to have a breakout year for 5 years.
Right.
But it's yet to be seen if the Ryder Cup and that playoff win really get him going. And
he was really good in the Ryder Cup. He really was. I know we talked about Rahm last week. How I'm not a Rahm guy, even though he's the best player in the world. I don't deny that at all. Yeah. I've never been a big Finau guy, but the Ryder Cup kind of turned me that way. I like Finau a lot. I'm looking for Finau to have a big year.
Yeah. But it's just somebody that time and time again, like you say, yeah, he's ready to go. Like, he's ready to win. Like, is he actually? We'll see. But I don't – like you said, it's hard. Like, is he at 7,200 yards for all these courses? He could bomb it out there, all 3 courses, and put some numbers up. But if, you could run into maybe the harder pins at X course and catch easy pins at Y course and fall way behind, So.
Next on the list, number 20 in the world, Abraham Answer. This has been a big tournament for him here in the States. He finished tied 5th last year and was runner-up the year before. He's a guy who needs to win a tournament this year.
Just joined Team Callaway.
Did he?
Yeah, went full Callaway.
And he's going to win a tournament this year.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, he's been, like, kind of like an independent guy. He was with Mura for a while, and now has gone full Team Callaway. So I'll be interested to see, like, how that just how that equipment change affects him, We'll see. So.
Sorry, trying not to burp.
You okay up there, Uncle Ty?
Trying not to burp into the mic. I drank a lot this weekend, went super healthy today. So, my body's all sorts of confused.
Yeah.
Next guy on the list is Sungjae Im. Missed the cut at the Sony. His first missed cut of the year, and only the second time in 6 tournaments he was outside the top 20. He went win, T9, T19, T8. I don't see him continuing to struggle. He's going to be in the mix this week, I believe. Although, can you imagine being the celebrity that gets matched up with Sanjay M? Like, he just looks like a robot. Like,
Yes, he does.
Sanjay M makes me so mad because every time I don't bet him, he does great. So what did I do last week? I not only bet him to win, I bet him to lead after the first round. You know what he does? Shoots 2 over in the first round.
we saw it.
What?
This guy,
Yeah, that's a,
he literally hates me. I'm convinced. Like, him and Cam Smith know who I am, and they're out to get me.
So every time that Sung Jam's name comes up and people talk about how much he plays, I think about it, like, at least from my perspective, he played, 35 times last season?
Yep.
That's a lot. Like, that's a lot of golf. But at the same time, like, the amount of money that's out there, yes, you're going to get tired. Yes, it's just going to be exhausting. But the amount of money that's out there, and you're playing on the PGA Tour, I feel like, at least, this is easy to say because I'm not on the PGA Tour, but that seems like a fun thing to do, man.
I agree, but it definitely
really
hurts
does.
him down the stretch.
Oh, it absolutely
Like,
hurts down the stretch. I'm not saying it doesn't.
I mean, it would be
but-
one thing. I look at some of these guys. The big topic that came up on Golficity a couple weeks ago was PGA Tour or MLB. And the MLB schedule is way more grueling because it's 162 games in 184 days. Like, it's nuts. But the golf season is grueling because it's a different type of fitness, right? Like, if you were in Tiger's early career shape where he was waking up running 4 miles a day and hitting balls, playing some basketball and doing that, if you were in that kind of shape and you want to play 35 times, go the fuck ahead. If you look like Sanjay M, don't play 35 times.
No.
Don't body shame Sanjay. Don't body shame
Not
Sanjay.
body shame.
Just making a
Like,
statement. Yes.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that he's out of shape. I'm just saying that it doesn't look like he's in the best shape he could be.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, right? Like, so if that's the case, if you want to play 35 times, get in a little bit better shape.
Probably get
Because
some now, I bet.
yeah, like, it's more than most. All right, let's
Better than most.
Better than most. How about in?
And that is why you watch this podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Next on the list is Patrick Reed. Missed the
All
cut here
no
last
listeners
year. He's been playing decent golf. Fuck Patrick Reed. Matt Wolfe is next.
Wait.
No, we're not
What
talking about
no,
Patrick
we
Reed.
have
You're
one
going to
thing to
make me
say.
upset here.
No.
You're going to make me upset, Tommy.
Who
Don't
else?
make me upset.
Who else but Patrick Reed could sign with PXG, the most obnoxious golf company in the world, but also only sign for a hat and driver deal?
I take credit for
What
that.
a ass!
I take credit for that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the most pretentious golf company on the planet. So no wonder he signs with them.
Yeah.
Oh, Patrick Reed. Fuck
Only Patrick
you,
Reed could come up with a deal like that, where I'm going to play one of your clubs and wear your hat, and also be as pretentious as you are. Wow.
All right. Matt Wolfe. Where to begin with Wolfe? So young, so talented, but he had a rough go last year. Seems to have turned it around in the right direction so far this season. He hasn't played in over a month, but went T17, runner-up T5, T11 in the last 4 tournaments. He made the cut at the Amex the last 2 years, but finished T40 and T61. I got to ask, just you being the player you are, and Dan, you can chime in on this too. Matt, you as well. I
Appreciate the afterthought.
No, it's
I'm
not
kidding.
an
Go ahead.
afterthought. I just want to know if I'm completely off base here. His inconsistency is that his swing is not repeatable.
Who?
Matt Wolfe.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that is why he is as inconsistent as he is, because just one little tick and his timing is off.
I don't agree with that, actually.
Then why was he so bad last year?
I think it was more of a mental thing.
Yeah,
than
he
him.
talked about it. He
Yeah,
said
yeah.
his mental struggles were definitely there.
Here's
but
my thing: is if that's the case, Jim Furyk is not the third most.
Jim Furyk's swing is incredibly repeatable. So I'm going on. Like I read an article that they interviewed Butch Harmon about this.
Yeah.
And Jim Furyk's swing is as repeatable as it gets. It's just weird.
Okay, but I mean,
Matt Wolfe's is not repeatable because it's full timing, and it just part of it goes out of sync. The rest of the swing doesn't match.
yeah, but he doesn't get if that's the case, he doesn't get to where he's at swinging like that for all those years. Like he doesn't go to Oklahoma State, one of the best programs. He doesn't almost win a national championship. He doesn't come out and win his first PGA Tour event. I mean, look at some of the craziest batting stances you've ever seen, and somehow guys get things done. Like some guys are just that athletic. And I think it was more up here than it was his repeatability of his swing.
Tommy wouldn't have agreed with me, even if he did agree with me. Let's just get
I agree.
No, I actually agree with both of you. I agree with it was extremely mental because they are correct on that. But I would say also,
Is he going to go through slumps, like short slumps, apparently, because his timing's off? Yeah, probably.
But that's what I'm saying.
But does that mean he has to change what he's doing? I don't think so.
Never said he had to change.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that I think that he is going to be a guy that can get extremely hot and play really good golf, and just as quickly could come back the next week and shoot 10 over like he did at a tournament last year on the first day of the tournament. And it's just like, I can't find the center of the club face. I'm of the belief that part of those mental struggles come from what am I doing? Why is this not working? It's worked for my entire life. Why is it not working?
Yeah.
So it's probably a combination of the two. I don't mind that it swings different. Heck, I mean, as a coach for baseball for however long I did it, my whole thing was I don't care how you start. It's you need to get to these three basic positions in your swing to be a competitive player. To be a good hitter, you need to get here, here, and here, right? Like I don't care if you start with your hands up here like John Crocker, your hands down here like this, like Mickey Tettleton. I don't care. Like those are that's not where the swing.
Just throwing out some names right there.
I do not want to get into the baseball thing because I will talk about it for 45 minutes and nobody else will say a word. So let's move on.
Yeah. We will move on. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he's going to have stretches of bad golf. But that, I think, like you said, sometimes those athletic guys just find their groove, and he could also win 3 straight weeks.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. That was my comment was nowhere meant to be a knock on Matthew Wolfe. I like the kid a lot. 22 years old, has a ton of potential. He's going to be a really good player for a long time.
For his own sake, I do hope he's doing better up here because that can be really tough.
Yeah, for sure.
And it looks like he is. He's played really well so far this year. Phil Mickelson, it's Phil. I don't care. Will Zalatoris, it hasn't been a good start to the year for Happy's caddy, guys. He has not played very well. Missed the cut at the Mayakoba and the Shriners. If the putter comes with him ever, he might be in the hunt. This is his debut at the Amex. You're going to see decent odds because he hasn't been playing well.
Yeah,
so,
that paired with a new tournament, that could be good.
Right. So, I mean, no sense in not throwing a buck or two on him if the odds are right.
Gold rings.
Gold rings. Yes, throw some gold rings on. By the way, if you look at our Facebook page, my gold rings are $2. Okay? If I put a gold ring on somebody, it's a $2 bet. 2 gold rings is a $4 bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. Ty lost a lot of gold rings last week.
I did. Corey Connors is next on the list. Corey played well at the Sony, finishing 11th with a 16 under. If he ever develops a short game, he's a top 10 player in the world. If he ever learns to putt, he's a top 10 player in the world. His short game isn't as bad as his putting, and his putting's just not aggressive.
Just very mechanical.
Yeah.
Sorry, I read ahead to your Justin Rose.
Okay. All right, so Justin Rose
great.
is apparently still in the top 50. He is 43rd in the world.
Remarkable.
Is Justin Rose still in the top 50?
That's remarkable, honestly.
It is.
He tied for 12th at the RSM and tied for 9th at the Hero.
I don't know, but his financial security is very secure with Morgan Stanley.
But other than those 2 tournaments, he's played 19 PGA Tour rounds and has 3 top 10s and 7 top 25s. Like, I just don't understand how the man is still in the top 50.
Well, he won the Tour Championship, 2018? And then went nights for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really.
As far as I know, the world rankings are based off the last 2 years, and in 2018 is not 2 years
That's
ago.
not 2 years ago. That's what I'm saying. So how?
So I'm saying, I agree.
But anyway,
he must be just racking up some top 35, so we don't know.
Since I lost all that money last week I obviously know nothing. So bet Justin Rose.
There you go. He's going to win.
Hey, Russell Henley
Guaranteed.
was
You
that
heard it here
close to
first.
getting us.
I know.
We missed out last week.
All right, Christian Gesundheit. I there you
go.
Wusenhout.
Yeah.
Wusenhout.
Tied 17th at the Sony with a negative 14, 14 under, up and down.
Negative
week.
14.
Sorry.
Have you ever watched golf before, Ty?
Never. ever.
How many innings are there?
Up and down week for the South African. Christ, I can't say the guy's name. I say negative 14. I quit. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
All right, well, I'll read on that. Michael Thompson.
Hey, no, don't you steal my sleeper picks. What a dick. I shouldn't have even given you a packet. For those of you who watch our podcast, all two of you. We do get some listens on Spotify, though. We're losing views on YouTube, but picking them up on Spotify.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's some of my friends from California. You guys
Probably
care at
not.
all. Yeah, exactly.
Sleeper pick that I like this week, as Tommy has already said, Michael Thompson. He came out and played great at the Sony with a T5, a 18 under. Sorry.
That man can
How many
stand
points did he
over a
score
putt.
last week?
What's that?
How many points did he score last? How many touchdowns?
If I stood over any individual putt as long as he did, I would make 0 putts.
Yeah, he really does. I think he's
Like,
counting the hairs on his beard while he's getting ready to putt.
It's a powerful beard.
It is a power beard. I'll give him that. It was his first time inside the top 50 at a tournament this year. He also finished T5 last year at the Amex. So I like him this upcoming week just because he had success there last year and played well last week. I know we talked about how Hawaii being a different animal than the mainland, but let's stick with a hot hand there. Luke List, strike the ball with anyone. Made me some money last year. I like him for a top 10, possibly a win. This isn't really a sleeper pick, but Ricky Fowler. I know everybody loves to talk about Ricky Fowler, even when he isn't good.
You want to talk about a not repeatable swing?
Yeah, that's true. It gets real flat at the top. Real flat.
Yeah, there's not all that body movement, though.
Anyway,
I'm going to go back to baseball here, Tommy.
he tied for third at the CJ Cup and some other not so memorable appearances this season. Taylor Gooch, his name you're going to hear me say a lot this year. He's been playing really good golf. I like
It's
him
actually
a lot.
Tyler on our sheet here.
No, it's just
That's
how he
how he
spells
spells
his name.
No,
ass.
it's not.
It's
Leave
straight
out
up.
the
It
Y.
is, yeah. Without a lie.
Don't you come at me,
I am-
motherfucker.
Watch yourself, executive producer. Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane.
You're throwing shots.
I am, absolutely. Whatever I can.
I like Gooch a lot this week. In fact, he's a win top 5, top 10 for me. Doug Gim played really well here last year and then didn't play well again the rest of his life. But if you want to give it a shot, go for it. Adam Hadwin has played well in this tournament in the past.
Hey, the Canadians.
16, 17, 18, and 19. He was in the top 7. Adam Hadwin, if he ever is healthy, is going to be a good player. He's kind of a poor man's Jason Day in that he never stays healthy. The Canadian out of Clemson,
I want a futures bet on him to win the Canadian Open.
it's not a bad bet.
But
Win
I
that.
also feel like, is he one of those guys that I keep seeing like Thursday, Friday, and then he just disappears? Like, is that
Yeah,
pretty fair?
absolutely.
All I know about Adam Hadwin is he shot 59 in Hawaii like 5 years ago.
That's true.
That's all I know about.
Andrew Putman, this is not a pick to win. Top 10 odds will be great, and this is literally the only place he plays well.
Nice.
He's not played well in any other tournament for the past 200 years.
He still has a card. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
He just hasn't had a very good year the last couple of years. And then my favorite,
Shaking that ass, shaking that ass.
Siwoo Kid, last year's winner. He shot 7 under last week for a whopping 55th, and hasn't been lighting it up so far this season. But he did win here, and other than the fact that he's literally a volcano, will break a club
Yeah.
at a moment's
Oh, yeah.
notice. The guy really has game. Like, he has a ton of game.
Yeah.
If he can keep his.
Shaking that ass.
Brian Harmon's next on the list. T8 last year. I like me some Brian Harmon. Kevin Streelman, Troy Merritt. My name is Tommy, and I pick guys like Troy Merritt.
Troy Merritt will not win this tournament. This is far too strong a field. Are you kidding me? There is someone in the top 50 in this tournament. He will not win. He only competes in the B side. No, I'm talking about like the Stableford that they have in Vegas while everyone else is in Europe playing the British Open. Like that's the
That
tournament
is not the tournament you picked
No,
to win last
that's-
year.
And he
In
did.
fact,
And he did.
he didn't win.
I know.
You know what tournament you picked him to win in last year, don't you?
What was that?
This one.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So,
Those weeks
So he's
feel last year,
absolutely
like,
he
really.
heard he heard Tommy just say that, and now he's going to win this week.
I
Absolutely.
Probably.
Bet
I'm
Troy
betting on him.
Merritt.
Troy Merritt gets me every time. He pulls me in.
75 gold rings.
75 gold. 1,000 gold rings minus 999. I got a guy for you.
Charlie Hoffman's the next guy on my list.
I'm sorry.
Always like Charlie had a shorter course.
Got a guy on your list.
And then Gary Woodland ends my list.
Is Gary Woodland not in the top? How does that make sense? How is Justin Rose in the top 50 but not Gary Woodland?
Because Gary Woodland has
He won the
played
U.S.
like
Open much
poo-poo.
more recently.
He did, but his consistency has been poo-poo.
But he's on Wilson, so she got an extra 25 points for that because he's playing with garbage.
Oh.
I'm also salty because I applied for an application with them, and they just like, we'll get back to you in 4 to 6 weeks, and they never did. So you know what? Screw you, Wilson. You don't want to work with us anyway.
Salty chips. Salty chips.
All right, here's Tom's legitimate pick of the week, and this is based off. We were talking about not caring too much about Hawaii versus here.
If you
But-
say Bronson Burgoon, I am going to
Calm down. Calm down. First of all, my pick for winner, top 5, and top 10, because I think they'll all pay out pretty well, is Adam Svensson. I think he got a top 10 last week.
Yep. I like that pick a
Played
lot.
very well. They were raving about him as an up and coming player on last week's broadcast. He came off, had a very strong Sunday. I think he shot 63 with a par on 18, which is a par 5. Why not? Keeping it going.
Yep.
Somebody you throw $1 on. I don't know his odds off the top of my head. Assuming they'd be fairly high, you throw maybe $5 on him, maybe make a couple $100. Really good pick.
I think the interesting.
I wouldn't be Tom Tiny if I didn't say you have to put $5 on Bronson Burgoon. I mean, come on. The guy is just an absolute stud, trending in the right direction based off absolutely nothing. But he got us a tweet from Phil Mickelson's thumb, and if for that reason alone, I will always bet Bronson Burgoon. That is my boy. All right, Troy Merritt,
and for that reason, I'm out.
You know that we're boys with Phil's thumb on Twitter now.
Just based off that.
Yeah, we talk with Phil's thumb regularly.
Because you made the most outlandish.
And he was leading after 9 holes.
It was
9
crazy.
holes.
All right, you know what? I should strictly be leading after 9 and leading after 18-hole bets, because when I make these outlandish picks, they always come out stupid hot.
They really do.
They really like.
Can I make
Last
my
week,
pick
Kevin
before we go on,
Chappell
by the
was
way?
tied for 3rd.
I'm just making my
Tommy, hold on.
pick.
Did you have a lot of caffeine today?
I've had 1 soda,
Okay, because
but god damn it, I'm high off life.
you really are,
Good Lord. Okay.
Matt.
I don't know if I'm amped or I'm drained. It's one of the two.
Can we talk about Amp for a minute? Amp's a
No.
great drink.
Absolutely not.
Make your pick.
This is mostly because I love him to death, and I always will. And shout out to my buddy Alex, Jason Day. I really want to see him play well. I really hope he's healthy. We've talked about this the last few podcasts. I really hope he's healthy. I hope he's mentally all there. And I love that man to death, and I really hope he wins every tournament forever, along with Big Tom.
Over
They can
under
both share
plays
the
over
wins.
under 4 rounds this week.
Yeah, I know. That's my concern there. But Jason Day, first event in a while. At least I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't in Hawaii.
I think it's the start of his season. So
All right.
I'm looking for him to have another little comeback, PGA comeback player of the year.
Like it. I'd like to see him play well. He seems like a good dude.
Top 5 for me as well, Wesley Bryan. I made it as a joke pick last year. I love the Bryan Bros. Love watching their YouTube stuff. And Wesley actually didn't play too bad. He and Maverick McNeely finished in the same spot. And you said you like McNeely's play. And
Like McNeely a
I
lot.
think that's a
What about Fratelli this week?
ooh.
Somebody that always has ridiculously good odds.
He really does, and it's because he's so boomer bust, right? Like last year, he had a couple of top fives and a win, and like then outside of that, it was like he'd finish like 70.
Yeah, but he's like can play. You know what I mean? Like, and he's long, so a 7,200-yard course. Like,
Yep.
Let's get after it for Telly.
So I do have some stats that translate thanks to the Lions website. Where I stole some stats from you guys today. Sorry, I didn't have time to go digging. Strokes gained ball striking in the field this week. Luke List, John Rahm, Sanjay M, Corey Connors, Hudson Swafford. Screw you, Hudson Swafford. If you're watching,
He made the cut.
He made the cut. I needed him to win.
Yeah, well.
Strokes gained par 72 under 7,200 yards.
Love that.
Finau, Cantley, Day, Rahm, Nick Taylor. Birdies are better gained. Rahm, Sam Ryder, Matthew Wolfe, Cantley, Cameron Young, and my guy Scotty Scheffler.
Well, based off this, I'd like to retract my statement on Tony Finau earlier.
What, you're gonna bet Finau now?
I'm just always going to bet Finau. I'm just saying how everyone's. I just love that we always start off with, and this is prime to start off a good year for him. That's what always gets me going.
All right, so let's jump right into the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship.
Abu Dhabi. It's a song you've never heard of, but it's fine. It's called Abu Dhabi.
Definitely haven't. And I'm glad it's called Abu Dhabi. Yeah. Anyway,
If I had a clip of it, I'd play it for you right now.
No thanks.
Probably against copyright.
It's at the Yas Lakes Golf Club in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. 74.25 yards, par 72 last year's winner. Your favorite guy, Terrell Hatton. In 20, Westwood won it. In 19, Lowry. In 18, Fleetwood. Got some top 50 players here.
I don't hate Terrell. I just hate Matt Fitzpatrick.
We know.
Always. I always need it to be constantly known.
Sorry, my notes got mixed up. The top 50 guys that you got here, I mean,
it's fine. We got 7,400 yards, par 72, $8 million purse, winner taking away 1.31 mil.
Yep. So the top 50 players, I mean, you're betting all of these guys this week in this tournament, okay? Well, not all of them. Number 47 and I'm not betting on number 47. So number 2, Colin Morikawa. 6, Victor Hovland. Rory McIlroy. Terrell Hatton. Lee Westwood. Tommy Fleetwood. Shane Lowry. The one I'm not betting, Adam Scott, who is also somehow still in the top 50 in the world.
Yeah, but Adam Scott's played a lot better. Okay, if my memory serves, he's played better than Justin Rose has.
Adam Scott just lost a 5-way playoff by missing a 6-foot putt like 6 months ago. So, I mean, he at least got seconds. So.
All right.
Yeah, he does. Holy cow.
He just can't
He's still a
putt.
Uniqlo, at least.
He also just the title is. I don't care. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
care.
They split. Yeah.
That's a long-time relationship that just ended.
That is.
They made him prototype blades just for him to leave.
Literally just for him.
It's like when you buy your girlfriend like diamond earrings. It's just like, oh, by the way, I'm leaving, but I'm keeping these.
No,
Sounds like that's happened to Tommy before.
Well,
Titleist didn't sign him. It wasn't he
Oh.
didn't leave it. Titleist didn't sign him back.
Then that's actually baller then, because he's like, here's these diamond earrings. We're breaking up. You can keep them if you want, though.
And then number 49, Minwoo Lee. I like Minwoo Lee this week a lot. I would take him.
yeah,
Guy that's really trending.
hard agree.
Really trending over the last 12 months.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're looking for a bet that is going to have better odds than anybody else I named on this list, that's the guy. And I would take him top 10, top 5, and to win and triple down on it. Other guys that I like.
Who else do you like, Ty? Who else do you like?
Gary. That's right.
Yes, but that's hard to disagree with. Like, we can't laugh at you for that one. We
just
can laugh
gonna
at
keep
Bronson
betting
for
this
Goon.
kid.
Will he
Yeah,
keep betting him because he's left-handed? Probably.
Yeah. Robert McIntyre, another good young player that I'm going to
Love
bet
that.
this week.
Love that.
Great pick.
He's going to play really well this week. I like him.
I love the Big Mac.
Yep. Guido Migliozzi, another guy that plays well in the European Tour. I just like saying his name.
Yeah, right.
Jason Scrivner finished second last year. He hasn't done much since, but he likes this event. And then Tommy's guy, Rafa Cabrera-Bello.
Will get in the top 10.
That's what I have. He will finish in the top 10.
More specifically, he will finish in the top 5, but not win. He will finish between second and fourth. Sorry, second and fifth.
And then I've got Matt Wallace as my last guy there.
How is Matt Wallace not a top 50 guy in the world? Who makes these rankings?
So that's your
Nothing
favorite?
makes
I think that's Uncle Ty's favorite part of the show.
Matt Wallace had like 3
I love
wins
it.
2 years ago.
Um,
Doesn't make sense anymore.
so now Hilton Vacations, LPGA.
Well, you guys don't have anything on the Abu Dhabi?
I know nothing about the course. I know that I see some players in the field that are very good at golf, and I'm going to let you guys bet your money.
I'm just
as
saying
usual.
hammer Minwoo. That's all I got to say on
Hey.
that. Just hammer Minwoo.
All I know is
100
that I
gold
printed you guys out some beautiful stats from golfstats.com, the number one resource in golf stats
sorry.
out there.
I forgot my monocle to read
Golfstats.com.
this, so.
Check it out. Anybody that gambles on golf should be going to golfstats.com. That's my plug. Pay me golf stats.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Or just
please,
give me a free
please
membership.
give Uncle Ty a free membership.
Did you remember your monocle to read these? Because I mean, Jesus.
Your eyes aren't that good. I like Thomas Peters
monocle.
this week as well.
I like the idea of hammering Minwoo. I think that's going to be great value. Guy who can really go light it up. Really solid game, but more importantly, a very good ball striker.
Yeah, I like him this year in general. I'm excited to see what kind of season he
I'd say
has.
he's in the top 50 now, even though the raw rankings apparently mean nothing.
Either that or the website that I got those two lists off of are just wrong.
I
Which
mean,
is also
I can look at the world rankings
yeah,
right now.
I
Like,
don't know.
I'm
It's
actually
not-
interested to. I don't think you're wrong, but
So we'll jump into the Hilton Tournament of Champions LPGA event.
Nice.
How about let's just hit on the fact that the purse for the LPGA US Open is a $10 million purse now. That's
Yeah, the
is
winner
bad.
takes home 1.8 million.
I'm super happy about that. That is awesome. I am all about the LPGA. I have a daughter who loves to golf, and the only thing I would say, so when I was researching this, they need to make it easier to find information. Like, I'm sorry, you are a legitimate female sports league association. Like, your website should be friendly. Like, I should be able to find what I want to find on players on your website. I shouldn't have to go to another website or go to their Instagram site or whatever. Like, come on. Like, please make it easier for us to enjoy the LPGA is all I'm trying to say.
I mean,
And that
probably
goes to TV broadcasts too.
Yeah.
Get them on TV.
Probably the
ESPN
most
doesn't even have live scoring on their app
Nope.
for the
No.
LPGA. Still.
Exactly.
Still.
That's exactly what I'm talking
Also,
about.
World Golf Rankings, just real quick, completely correct. You were right. So, yep.
But they are illegitimate.
I feel
That's a
so
whole.
validated now. I'm kind of feeling awesome. Anyway.
Yeah.
So this week in the Tournament Champions, it's pretty cool. There's a bunch of guests they play with, like Roger Clemens is there and Hootie.
Mhm.
got
Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker, thank you. I'm just calling him Hootie. Hootie's there. Oh, you're a Darius Rucker fan, aren't you?
Not particularly, but the fact that I know that and you still have a problem with it, golly.
Last year, Jessica Korda won this. I like her again. I like Nelly Korda. Obviously, MB Park is a good player to put some money on. Michelle Wee West is going to be at the tournament play on an exemption. So just some big names for the LPGA. Anybody have some input on that?
I don't know if I like that they have like the celebrity portion because it makes it feel like it's like a celebrity pro-am instead of being like, hey, like this is our TOC.
I think it's similar to the way you talked about the Century Tournament of Champions being kind of a bonus.
Yeah.
So, like, I think they're looking at it that way too, and this is something that might get a little bit of more publicity for them. It's not a full field, obviously, and I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think that's why.
Yeah, I agree. I just would like it to be less of a celebrity pro-am and more of a like, hey, these were our winners last year,
Right.
and you should care about these golfers. And,
I agree 100%.
but
Less of a circus, more of a.
if you want to make this course set up for massive scoring, awesome, like they did there. But like, make it about the girls who won. Oh, sorry, the women that won last year.
I think the best part about it was they were interviewing. I forget who it was. They were interviewing a guy, but he was sitting next to Roger Clemens. He was like, "Yeah, I'm really excited to get out there and play with some of these ladies. It's going to be a good time. And Clemens is like, yeah, it'll be a good time until one of them outdrives you by 30 yards. I was walking to my ball last year, and Nelly Cora affectionately looked up and was like, that's me. He was like, and I was 20 yards behind her. I was like, all right, so that's our tournament talk for the day. Where are we with the agenda here? We're almost at an hour. I got it right here.
We're at Na versus Grayson Murray.
Oh yeah, back to the old Na Murray. I gotta tell you, man, Grayson Murray seems like a real piece of shit.
Yeah, he does.
And I'm okay with somebody knocking Na for playing slow. We did it earlier, but like, here's a guy that acts like a pure victim, and it's like, hey man, nobody's making you do this. Like, if you want to do something, if you want to go sell cars for a living, go the fuck ahead.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear you bitch and moan about your life. Like, I get better. Like, I'm sorry that you have an addiction problem. That sucks. Like, I feel for anybody that's going through that.
Yeah.
But don't blame the PGA Tour for that.
Yeah, it's not their fault, and you have to want to get. In my experience, I've dealt with a decent amount of it, not necessarily myself, but the people around me. And my parents were for years, and that's why they haven't drank in 40 years. But it's just you have to want to help yourself before anyone else can help you. So
the only thing I'll say, and I've looked deeper into that tweet that you sent us, and first comment was Phil Mickelson saying, hey, man, I'm sorry to hear that you're going through this. I've reached out to the PGA Tour about struggles with myself, not necessarily with that addiction. And all I got back was, we'll get back to you. So that sucks that you're looking essentially to your employer to be like, hey, like anybody might be like, hey, I need to reach out to someone. I need help from somebody. Can you connect me with someone?
That's a curious situation though. So like, and I think it's cool that Phil reached out, but who is actually your employer when you're a professional golfer? So hear me out before you answer my question. So as a professional golfer, your employer, in my opinion, is not the PGA Tour. You earn the right to play on the PGA Tour. You earn the right to play on the Korn Ferry Tour. Your employer, when you are on the PGA Tour, are all the names and bullshit you wear on your shirt and hat, right? So, like, I would bet if he was an Under Armour guy, if he contacted Under Armour, they probably have an athletes program for that, just like they would for any NFL player who wears Under Armour cleats or anything like that. Now, the NFL has a great players association. So I'm not saying the PGA is completely.
Does the PGA not have a players association?
Of course they do.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're completely off the hook here.
Yeah.
I just look at a situation where you are a single person.
Yep.
And like I think that there are other avenues. And don't get me wrong, the PGA Tour should have a better policy. There is no excuse for them saying we'll get back to you. None at all. None. I'm not.
You're saying there are other avenues to get help.
Right. Yeah. I don't see going public with sour grapes towards the PGA when you're not making cuts and it feels more like I'm going to throw stones at a window because nothing's going right. Not just this.
I mean, my thing is he just sounds like he's like stuck in a job he hates. Well, no one's saying you have to be a professional golfer. Like a lot of people every day quit their jobs, get a different education, find a new certification to find a new job that they want to do. They find a way to get into something they like. If you don't like the lifestyle, then don't be a professional golfer.
So honestly, just you mind if I real quick, just looking at so I saw that tweet, the tweet I sent you guys about his struggles and whatnot. And I did feel bad for him. I was like, what? I hope he gets help. I hope that somebody's there to help him. All those good things, but seeing his behavior just continue the way leading up to the Kevin Na thing, feel a little less bad now, a lot less bad.
Right. So let's go into the Kevin Na tweet. You want to read that tweet?
I got it right here. So Chantel McCabe, who I think is Golf Channel.
Yep.
Yes. Sirius XM and PGA Tour Live. So she tweeted, Kevin Na walking in putts does not get old. And Grayson Murray fires back, Kevin Na taking 3 minutes to putt them does get old.
Probably not an incorrect statement.
It's
probably not an incorrect statement. Yeah,
Kevin Na went right back and said, you missing the cut is getting old. And Murray then says, if they penalized you like they should for slow play, you'd never make another cut either.
So the funny part about that is, did you see the deleted there's a comment in that thread where the guy's like, we saw the one you deleted, douchebag, and it's like something like, come at me, little man, and say that to my
Let's
face.
see. It says,
like that. Yeah.
You'd never
love
say
it,
that to
little
my
guy.
face.
Would never tell me that to my face.
There.
Yeah.
And what's the comment? Somebody was like, saw the one that you deleted before.
That's the one he deleted.
So I just look at people like that, and it's like you are a keyboard warrior that just needs to figure out their own life instead of talking about other people's lives. Kevin Na needs to play faster.
Yes, everybody knows it.
But like, I just
There's got to be some little man syndrome or something. I don't know what his deal is.
I think this is the negative side of the PIP, though, the PIP stuff. Because
that's a great point.
does Kevin Na really tweet that at him if he's not like, this is a great opportunity to get people talking like us to make some extra money at the end of the year?
There is a part of that
You don't know,
thread
yeah.
where Colt Nost,
Yeah.
who's like the subpar guy, and he's on CBS, I think. And he was like, dude, really? Like he's in there like, and he's like, you know me, I like to stir the pot. And it's like, you're not stirring the pot.
You're just being an
You're just being
asshole.
a dick.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between stirring the pot and being an asshole. And that's
But if this continues and they, people are talking about golf and the Kevin Na versus, I don't even remember his name now.
Yeah.
He's not, I've never heard of this guy, Grayson Murray.
Yep.
I never heard of this guy before this week. But like, they might walk their way into $2 million because, people were talking about the Kevin Na Grayson thing all week. Like, and I think that's just where it's not what it's intended to be about.
Sure.
And I honestly, I don't know. Obviously, don't know Kevin Na as a person. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that goes out of his way to bash some dude. I know he got bashed first, but I doubt he hits that reply tweet button if he's not like, here's an opportunity to make a few $1 million.
It's interesting though. I don't disagree with that. I think that's a really good point. And one that I didn't think of at all. The PIP thing just continues to be a new thing that we're gonna have to think about whenever social media comes up. And I like Kevin Na. He won me some money last year, but like there's some like little things that Kevin Na's done in his career that you're kind of like, okay, like the DJ conceded putt thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like don't get me wrong, he was right.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Maybe Na's just a gritty competitor. I mean, maybe that's why he takes 3 minutes to putt. Maybe he takes 3 minutes to putt to piss the guys off he's playing with. I mean, I don't know, like that. But I thought the whole Twitter interaction was kind of ridiculous.
Somebody responded with Grayson Murray's last few starts here.
Yeah.
Shoots 73 at the 3M Open, withdraws. Barbasol Championship, cut. John Deere Classic, withdrawal before he even starts. Rocket Mortgage, cut. Travelers, cut. Palmetto, cut. Byron Nelson, cut. Wells Fargo, cut. Valspar, cut.
How's he still have his card?
Hard telling, not known.
What's that?
Hard telling, not known.
All right, let's move on from that. I just wanted to touch on it because it was something I found kind of funny. Where are we next with the agenda there, Matt?
The Netflix thing.
No, Bryson injury and his comment.
That's part of the Netflix thing, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So, did anybody hear Bryson, the almighty Bryson, talking about why he didn't do the Netflix?
Absolutely.
docu-series?
We'll let you talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you go ahead. That's
I'm so tired of Bryson DeChambeaus having a microphone in front of him, right? Like, I think it's just time that he shuts up and have your YouTube channel. And he's like, people get a good enough look into my life on my YouTube channel. And, for the guys who are far behind, like Harry Higgs, like, why would you pull Harry out of the pack?
TaylorMade pushes him all the time. I don't know what he's talking about.
Dude.
I haven't seen Cobra post about you in a while, Bryson, because they don't like you very much. So.
well, he's just pushing. He's pushing Harry Higgs into the conversation for absolutely no reason at all, other than
just the shit on Harry Higgs.
There's
for no
some
reason.
right.
the matter with him. There's got to be.
I'm just so over it. I'm so over the whole thing. Like, how are you going to say after the first round at the Century TOC, 200-mile-an-hour ball speed felt easy today, and then at the end of the tournament, drop out this week because you have a sore wrist? Well, maybe you don't need a 200-mile-an-hour ball speed. Like, I'm so uninfatuated with the whole thing at this point. He's a great golfer. Like he
If he
really
just does gameplay, if he just shut up, we'd all be like, "This guy's amazing."
If he shut up and took off that stupid hat, he would be infinitely more likable.
TOC.
But he's not wearing it.
I know, but is he not wearing it for the whole
He
season?
came forward and was like, "I'm no longer wearing the hat
Oh,
because he was tired of being like bullied for it."
Please
Like,
tell me.
He's tired of being bullied? Oh my god.
What? What did you say?
I hope he changes his logo now.
There's just no need for any of this stuff, and like the worst part is I think he thinks he's trying to be a good guy by not. Like, he honestly thinks by me not taking the spotlight away from these people, I'm graciously giving them like the spotlight, and in reality, it's like, dude, get your how big is your ego? Like, there are so many golfers that are still better than you. Like,
do you think he is one of those situations? Like, and it's not exactly like this, but have you ever watched The Big Bang Theory?
Yes.
Okay, so Sheldon,
Yes.
right, who is just so socially unaware.
Yeah.
Do you think that Bryson is just that smart that the social part of life does not even make
There's
sense?
no denying he is absolutely brilliant when it comes to his intelligence.
Yeah.
But he is he's so unaware of social.
yeah, I think that he's literally it's a perfect comparison. Maybe not him, but maybe Howard or something.
Right.
Like he's not quite Sheldon level because
No. I'm talking about the social part.
No, I know,
Right,
but
so-
I'm saying from a social thing. But yes, extremely awkward, a lot more athletic, but
I'm not even putting the athleticism.
I know, but I'm saying he's a more athletic one of those guys on the show. Like, you're 100% right.
I guess my thing there is hire somebody to tell you to shut the fuck up.
Is he really gonna listen though?
I mean, that's why you pay somebody, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, one of the best things that you can ever hear from a pro athlete is when they talk about their advising team. Okay, because almost every pro athlete has a team, and you hear guys like LeBron get killed because he brought his boys from high school to be his advising team, right? Like, which nobody takes the time to look at the fact that his boys went to college and figured out how to help him out the right way. I mean, he's obviously doing okay.
Yeah.
But every group has their entourage, so to speak, right? Like, find somebody you trust and tell him, hey man, I'm not good at this. I'm getting killed for some of this stuff.
It's so easily preventable, it seems.
It is.
It's very
easily
easily preventable.
and at this point, I don't even think he cares. I think he likes just throwing it out there anyway because it puts him in the limelight. But
Again, do you think this has to do with Pip at all? Do you think that's part of it? It's got.
I don't want to believe that everything comes back to that, right?
Not everything, but he really got a lot more annoying after that.
After what?
He was annoying,
right? So
Pip stuff, how they get paid for social media.
Oh, I didn't.
player
presence.
impact program.
Remember, that's Tiger
$80
literally got
million this
second
year.
in it this year just for posting on it. Yeah. So I just think that's just a negative aspect. And I think it sets a bad precedent, is because I think people are going to, what moves the needle? We're talking about golf Twitter earlier and how that's the biggest form of golf social media right now.
Right. Yep.
But Twitter is also just a place where people just say the nastiest things to each other.
it's crazy though because it doesn't get that bad on the golf side. I mean, I'm on it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't. It's the only thing I do on Twitter, and golf Twitter is more tame than the majority of Twitter. It's not tame, but it's not I'm going to scoop your eyeballs out.
But I think I
Right.
feel like these golfers are coming at each other. I don't think Bryson and Brooks and Bryson happens nearly the level it does until they were I really don't like you. But if we play this up, we can make some money. So we're gonna play this up. And I just don't think I go back. I don't think Kevin Na says what he says. I don't think a lot of these bullshit fights on Twitter happen. And so that the more people are talking about them, the more chance they have to make money. And I think a lot of these guys are taking it the wrong way. They're I'll take whatever exposure I can get because I'm going to make a few extra $1 million instead of thinking about how it makes them perceived really in the long term.
Do you think it changes the game in the long term?
Does it change the game? No, not until somebody says something to Grayson Murray and he's drunk and he fucking knocks him out. Like,
But I mean, like,
I think it could lead to an ugly situation on course at some point.
I think it brings an element of WWE storylines into golf,
but if they don't play with each other, it doesn't matter until.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But is it?
Yeah.
It's still something that we're not talking about guys who are necessarily perfect mentally, right? So like if you get into some heated battle on a Twitter rant on Wednesday and you're just that fired up that it throws your game off, like I don't know. It's just an interesting new dynamic to the game that I think is going to have an effect in some way, shape, or form.
I just think they need to come up with a more specific metric. If they're going to continue the PIP program, it needs to be like you grew the game X amount, not like, oh, you got in a fight with Kevin Na and you got in a fight with this guy and people talked about it this many times, had made this many comments. Like it has to be some kind of positivity to it.
Positive player impact program. There you go.
I don't know how you.
Well, I think there should be a committee that's like that deems that. Then it's like, hey, you had this many comments, but you also represented the tour poorly, so we're not counting any of this towards it.
Man, that is a heavy job, a heavy full-time job if they would do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I agree.
I think it's necessary. I just don't like where it's going, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere though.
Yeah, well, I hope they take the. I hope they put some parameters on it. That's all.
I don't think they care enough to put parameters on it, which is the sad thing.
It is.
Yeah. So what's next? We got the next one.
Yeah, we kind of were starting on that a little, I think.
So the docu-series, I'm excited to see this.
I'm very excited.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The names on it are extraordinary.
I got to pull up the full list of guys here, but
Dan,
Dustin
can you help
Johnson,
this guy? He's looking at wedges too.
Guys like Dustin Johnson and Spieth and JT. Do you have the whole list up yet? Tommy got real sad when we started talking about negative stuff.
No, I did. I got down. I'm down in the dumps.
Okay, here's alphabetically. I'll read the whole list.
All right.
So, all right. Abraham Answer, Daniel Berger, Cameron Champ, Joel Damon, who I'm very excited to see, Tony Finau, very excited, Tommy's favorite, Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Too down in the dumps for that.
Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Sergio, Harry Higgs, Max Homa, who's going to be awesome, Victor Hovland, who I think is going to be great, DJ Brooks, that'll be interesting, Colin Morikawa, Kevin Na, Mito Pereira, Ian Poulter, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth, JT, Bubba Watson, and Hida Nakajima, who's the #1 amateur.
The No Laying Up guys just did an interview with Joel Damon. I highly recommend it.
I listened to the whole thing.
He's a pretty cool cat. Love the story about his caddy Gino. I mean, talk about two guys that took a shot and followed their dream and it worked out. Like not your typical PGA story, I don't believe, especially the caddy side of it. Really, really good podcast. I'm really looking forward to that Netflix docu-series.
I am too. Absolutely. Gino's a great Twitter follow, by the way.
What's that?
Gino's a great Twitter follow.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The story about the ride to
oh my god,
the TOC on the first day where the poor shuttle drivers told him the best spot to see everybody come home on 18. You're like, hey, you got to get there early so you can see him, thinking that Damon's just a crowd, like a member of the crowd, right?
Yeah, but also Damon goes, he didn't know my name. Nobody should know my name.
Right.
Unless I'm wearing the bucket hat, and even then, nobody should know.
Right, yeah. He wasn't upset about it at all, but like the caddy filmed the whole thing. And then
the driver responded.
Was pretty upset.
Yeah, was
about
upset,
it.
but then
He's like, he
came
my
out
job
to the tournament, and the driver was like, I lost my cool for no reason. I'm sorry. You didn't mean it like that. So it got all smoothed out. But
all right, so docu-series is going to be great. We'll talk more about that as we go through. I think next is tip of the week.
Yeah, we Bryson's out of the way. Done?
Yeah, I don't want to. Tommy got really upset when we started talking about Bryson. Look at him.
He went
from
from get happy anymore talking about Bryson. Like
he
truly.
went from high on life to like.
I just think he's just not good for the sport long run. I really don't.
I don't.
He got people to talk about it, but now it's enough and it's over. Needs to stop. So yeah, tips of the week.
Tips of the week, Tommy. Tip of the week. Smile.
Yeah.
When you're building a bag, so obviously we do a lot of fitting here, and when you're building your bag, you got to start from the greenback. And we talk about that with practicing, and I think it's important with
I can't believe you're going with this for your tip, going from the greenback. So it's hilarious because you're gonna laugh because I was thinking about mine today. So
yeah. So I mean, often we start fittings with irons, but that's just because we fill the majority of the bag. We determine if we want to go with a gap wedge in the iron head or wedge head. But when you're talking about budgeting for your fitting, make sure you budget. Like, drivers will be $500. Don't set like $100 budget for your putter. It is the most important club, and it's just statistically proven. Other than hitting greens and reg, number of putts is going to make the biggest influence on your score. And there's just so much. People are like, "Oh, it's a putter, it's a putter, it's a putter." No, there's so much technology that goes into it in terms of moment of inertia, which gives you forgiveness, the weighting of the putter, getting a putter that has half decent responsiveness, so that if you're striking it on the toe or the heel, and you can make that adjustment. Getting a putter that has consistency with exit velocity, so that you can develop a certain level of speed control. Like, if you're going to have a $500 budget for a driver, you should also have like a $400 budget for a putter. And I know it's going to vary from person to person. I'm not saying you have to spend $400 on a putter, but don't go out and be like, I'm going to buy the Stealth for $600 and then I'm going to buy a Ray Cook for $40 for my putter. Give yourself a fair allotment for your wedges and putter. And even if that means you have to take some of your budget away from the driver and fairway woods, because you're going 100 yards and in accounts for over 70% of your game, whether it's a chipping, a full wedge shot, putting. Make sure you don't go into your fitting, get the driver, get the irons, and then as an afterthought, pick up 2 random wedges and a cheap putter. Like, put as much effort and a lot for your budget for that, because that's honestly your 3 wedges and your putter are going to gain you many more shots instead of maybe your driver if you make a huge gain than any other club. So don't get too wrapped up. You're not going to see advertisements about putters that often, but don't forget about it. Don't let it be an afterthought when you're trying to build your.
So it's crazy that that's what Tommy went with today, because I was going to talk about having a practice plan. And so the 70% of your shots, 100 yards and in, I back it up. I think it's more like 120, 130 and in.
Especially for amateurs.
I based that up. I mean,
especially for amateurs.
That was me making an estimation. I'm not saying that's an accurate stat.
No, I get it. I'm just talking from where I end up off the tee usually. So I think a lot of guys who are trying to get better at the game don't give themselves an appropriate plan. So if you're going to go to the driving range and you're going to spend an hour there, okay, if you spend more than 20 minutes of that hour hitting driver, you don't have a good plan, okay? So I like to break my practice sessions into 3 separate categories. The first category is warm-up. The second category is I'm going to work on some mechanical things that I know I need to do. So like right now, I'm trying to swing up on the ball with my driver a little bit more. So I might do a couple of drills that work with that. And then the third thing is player mode. I'm going to pick targets and I'm going to pick distances and I'm going to hit them at that. Right. So we're talking about 3 20-minute segments, sometimes a 15-minute segment for warm up, and then a 15-minute segment for the mechanical, and then maybe a 30-minute segment if I'm getting ready for a tournament that I'm like trying to really dial things in. When I'm in that 30-minute segment, I am probably focusing 20 of those 30 minutes on 140 yards and in. I mean, those are the shots that will score for you, okay? 15, 20 driver swings, great. You should be spending 70% of your practice time on 140 yards a day. And come up with a plan Do not just go to the range and pour a bucket of balls out. Come up with a plan. It doesn't need to be the same as mine. It doesn't need to be the same as Tommy's. It doesn't need to be the same as Matt's. It doesn't need to be the same as Sawyer sitting off camera. It needs to be yours. It needs to be what you feel comfortable with. Also, do not have the same warm-up on a round day as you do when you're getting ready at the range. Okay, as you do when you just go to the range to practice. Like, those are two different situations. Like, when I warm up for a round, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to hit a couple of balls to get loose, and then it is nothing but target and distance. There is no mechanics going through my head. Now, that's just me on a day that I'm playing in a round. But have a plan. Go to the course or the range and make sure you have a plan. That is my tip of the day. Matt?
100% agree. For me, when I go and practice, it's more of, for me, it's big time putting. Like, I want to get the speed of the greens that day.
Just so you know, I don't even count putting as.
Yeah, right. You're talking about a whole different thing. I hear you there.
That's
this is where this is where they've done a great job tonight here at the store, just getting my wedges. Because we were talking about 120 yards and in. My wedge play was just horrendous, but they kind of worked on that with me here, but neglected my putting. And I'm going to try and get back into, go to the range and putt, or go to the course and putt for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that all the time. We had a big putting green at the Superstore, but putting is huge. Even if you just get yourself a nice putting mat, we just got putting mats here at the store.
Yep.
Get yourself one of those. It's worth the investment. Absolutely.
I have 3 different putts in my basement. Mm-hmm. I think I sent a picture to our group chat. I was like, if I ever get cable down here, I'm never leaving.
Oh, I know.
It's just
and it's true. That's why you're so good on the greens too. You and Tommy both.
All right, so there's the tip of the day. I think that was all we got. We just want to go through our thank yous. Thanks to Pull the Pin for always hosting the podcast. I want to thank the Painted Lines for letting us use their YouTube platform. Check us out at the Painted Lines, and then also on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. So we're on 6 different platforms at this point. Our Spotify followers are starting to climb a little bit. We're much better to look at. We're obviously pretty. No, we're not.
Sometimes.
Listen all you want. Anyway, anything else we want to shout out here today?
Yes, a couple things. Unless Mr. PTP wants to do it.
I was gonna say, come out. We just got 100. Well, now we're down to like 140, but we have Pull the Pin hats available.
Awesome.
If you are a fan of the show or just a fan of working with us in general, we have 11 different styles and 4 different colors. We have both trucker and they're all adjustable snapbacks, but full cloth or trucker hats, they're ranging anywhere from $29.99 to $34.99. So definitely worth if you're a fan of the show and want to rock the best logo in Lancaster County.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and do that. Make sure we got new product in all the time. We have the new stealth drivers in from TaylorMade. So if you've been waiting for those for a fitting, make sure you stop in and come give those a few whacks to check them out. Mizuno Pro irons, Rogue ST irons. We should have that Rogue ST Woods here later this week. So definitely stop in if you're in the market for clubs. There's no better place than Pull the Pin.
Absolutely. Anything else, Matt?
Nope. Thanks for having me as always.
It's a pleasure. For Tommy, for Matt, I'm Ty. We'll see you guys next week. Sawyer and Dan in the background. We'll be back Monday at 3 p.m. and hopefully we make some money this week.